Alright, what is up you guys? This is HJ here, and we're back again with another Minecraft video. I apologize in advance for the poor audio quality. I'm trying to fix that in the meantime off camera. I redid my studio setup. You guys saw the video. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and check that out. And I also reinstalled Windows. But that's besides the point. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the Mega City 2 Minecraft map. It's been a long time since I've done one of these review videos for a Minecraft map on the channel, and so I wanted to start redoing a lot of them because I have so many that I probably could do a review every week at this point. So let's go ahead and dive in. So this is Mega City 2, and we're gonna explore this in creative mode. So this is gonna be basically short video, one take. I'm not gonna try and like water everything down. You guys are going to get to see the whole map, and this is what it looks like when you spawn in. So when you spawn in, you're going to see the main building here. I think this is City Hall. If someone knows what this building is, correct me in the comments down below, but I think this is City Hall. Or it could just be a general spawn location. They never specified anything on the building itself to say what it is. So we're just going to assume this is City Hall because it has a rotunda and the clock tower and everything. Now, for starters, this map is very massive. Now, I'm going to go over 5 things that I like about this map as we explore it, and then 5 things that I don't like about this map, and then we'll round out if this thing is really a worth it map for you guys. So, the first thing that I really like about this map is the size. Now, most city maps, they have a finite amount of space, or they are too compact for what a city really should be. And a lot of the cities that I've seen on the marketplace, this is excluding the Minecraft modded maps that you get for Java or for Bedrock that are not on the marketplace, by the way, so don't think I'm counting those. These Minecraft maps, they don't have a lot of height to them, like skyscrapers, high rises, or anything like that. And a lot of the times they're very small in nature, and so when you try and explore, you're very limited as to what you have to explore, the options that you're given. So I'm going to travel up the street here so you guys can see how basically the length of this map. But if I'm not mistaken, I think this map, don't quote me on this, but I think it's 900 to 1200 by probably 1200, but that's a rough estimate because sometimes you get maps that are like longer and taller and they're not really shaped like a kind of like a box rather, but they're kind of like asymmetrical cities. So this map is like taller this way than it is going towards the water or towards the forest that's in this direction. So that being said, this map is more of like a waterfront map, I should say, because it's got more length to it. And why does that tie into why I like the size of this map? Because with this type of map, the length being on the water like this, if you try and add on to it or build onto this map, like so many people like to do, like I like to do myself, one of the things that you'll be able to do and take advantage of is you'll be able to expand northward and southward or east or west, however you want to perceive it, because you have a little bit more of an idea as to how you'd be able to extend your land to add on to these types of cities. And so this is as far as I've gotten, and I think this is where it kind of cuts off at, is like, yep, right here where this road ends. So this is as far as it goes, and I'm going to turn coordinates on because I know you guys can't see how long it is, but we can go ahead and measure this. So I'm going to start here from, I guess, this block right here. This is negative 1447, so that's west for those that are not familiar with Minecraft coordinates. The negatives on the first box are west, with the positives being east. The negatives on the north on the last box is north, with the positives being south. And then of course the middle coordinate, like up is positive, down is negative. So that's how the coordinates work in Minecraft. So we're gonna walk this entire road because this road is like continuous, so this is the best way to do it. And we're gonna go all the way down to the other end, and we're gonna see how many blocks it actually is. It was 1447 when I started. You know what? Actually, let me put that in my calculator, and I'll pull it up. If I get it wrong, I'll pull it up on the screen. But it's 1447 plus whatever the positive is in the opposite direction. So, and while we're doing this, I'm going to talk about my second thing that I like about this map. The second thing that I like about this map is the detail. The detail is pretty decent for the type of map that this is. My only gripe with it, which I'll get to in the negatives, is going to be with some of the minor details, but we'll talk about that later. Now, the third thing that I like, and this is a really, really big plus. The third thing that I like is that with a lot of Minecraft maps, you have, when I say finite spaces, some of them are like floating maps. They're not like infinitely expandable. This one is infinitely expandable. That means if I travel outside the city, I have normal Minecraft world, like normal terrain Minecraft world that I myself can work with, that I myself can expand in whichever direction up to like 30 million blocks as far as I want to. That's the thing that a lot of Minecraft maps miss. If you guys have a Java map or you guys have a Minecraft Bedrock Edition map that is not part of the marketplace that you guys downloaded externally, those are almost always going to be infinite because those are third parties making them. They're not confined by Minecraft's restrictions and limitations as to how big their map can be to upload to the marketplace. But if you get one of these, then you need to know if it's going to be infinitely expandable or if it's going to be finitely expandable, like when you have a compact box. And so this being infinitely expandable is a really good plus because that means you can go as far as you want. Now, my only thing with the infinitely expandable maps is that most of them are always normal terrain. So here we are at the end of this. So this is 1165. So 1447, 1165. So this map from length is 2612. So 2612 blocks in length. And I can promise you guys that at least in both directions, you're going to have at least 500 to 800 blocks in both directions. So for today's video, we're going to say 2.6k by 900, just a rough estimate. That's what you're looking at for this map. Now, my fourth thing that I like about this map is, well, first off, look at the power lines. I mean, this is a really nice detail, but also the fact that they left you with green space. What I mean by that is they left you with spaces like these where if you want to build on and you don't want to like build extended like all the way out and like add land with commands or like manually by hand, you have areas that are not filled in with buildings that you can actually add to later, so there's enough green space for you to do that. And my number 5 thing that I like is that they added green space, like in terms of trees and stuff, they have enough of that, but the way that they did it is like they're kind of like garden beds and whatnot, so they're not like, oh, you have a random tree sticking out of the sidewalk or a random plot of grass, just like, why, like between the sidewalk and the actual road. There's actually a purpose behind why they did that. Now let's talk about the 5 things that I don't like. So the first thing that I don't like is the way that the infinite map is going to require you to add on with the expansion of the land. And I know I talked about, before you get upset, I know I talked about how the map had the green space for that reason, but hear me out. So when you have infinite maps like this and you have infinite terrain, they're not flat. That means any kind of thing you have to do to it, you have to either manually landscape it or landscape with commands, which commands are so not accurate. I've tried that so many times and it never works. It's terrible when you do it with commands, so don't do it with commands if you can help it. But that is the issue with these maps. When they're infinitely expandable, you're always going to have something that you're going to have to landscape in the process. Now, the second thing I don't like is that the minor attention to detail. I said attention to detail. That means that they paid attention to the roads, they added crosswalks, they did the interiors of the buildings, like all of them, they did all the other things that they were supposed to do. But the one thing that they didn't do, or two things rather, they didn't have traffic lights at every single intersection or stop signs at every single intersection. And they also did not add road signs to tell you, like, hey, this is the speed limit, hey, this and this street, or something like that. They didn't add the smallest thing that they could possibly add to make this hyper realistic. If you guys saw my city video where I've been working on that project, a video is coming soon on that, by the way, then you guys will see that everything that I did in that city, they had street signs, roundabouts, they had purpose behind every single road aspect there was. You had traffic lights, you had footbridges, you had a stadium where the stadium was built upward and underground to accommodate space that if you have skyscrapers around your city, you're not going to be able to really expand outward. So that's one of the things that I did that helped with that. This city doesn't necessarily have all of that, and so I think that's one area that it's missing in that department. Now, the third thing that I don't like is this massive amphitheater. And I'm not bashing on it. I just don't like where it's positioned, like the way that they did it. It's a nice stage, but I feel like if they would have built the amphitheater like in the ground, like downward sloping, and then had like these seats and everything like going down, like, kind of like a theater, like a Broadway theater style. I feel like if they would have done that with this and then surrounded it with like walls and maybe like capped it off like partially on the top, like sort of like an actual like venue, they probably would have made this thing stand out a little bit more. But I just think that where this thing is and the way that it's designed, it looks kind of out of place. And then you're also talking about the seats over here are just wool. They're not like actual like chairs. You just stand on them. Yeah, no. I'm not for that at all. But it's a nice touch, I guess, but come on, guys. Why? Why did you include this? I don't know why you guys included that, but okay. Now, the fourth thing that I don't like is the fact that buildings don't have a absolute purpose. They're just interiors, and you have to designate which each building is for yourself. So what I mean by that is that most of these buildings, the insides, they look virtually the same. And there's not really much differential except for this building and a couple of the taller buildings. You're not going to notice much of a difference in the inside of the building. That being said, though, if you really, really wanted to, you could just scalp out the interior, like carve everything out and redo it. But you're not really, I don't know, you wouldn't really do that, and so I think that's one area they could improve on. Also, I do want to make a mention of noting this is the second iteration of this map. There's a first version called Mega City, not Mega City 2, that actually does have a little bit less detail than this, and that a reason why I didn't review that one is because that one is basically the same issues and pros as this one. It's just a little bit smaller, and it's a little bit more boxed off. But there's really not much else here in terms of interior besides what they offer, and I think they could have done a little bit better here on that regard. Now, the fifth thing that I want to talk about, this is the very last thing that I don't like about this map, and it has more to do with the zoning and positioning of all the buildings. Everything is just thrown out, okay? When you have a city, you have residential and mixed residential on the exterior. Then you work it with the more closer you work towards the center, the taller your buildings are going to get. Not necessarily all cities, but some cities where they have it is like each ring of a city is a different height, leading up to the tallest buildings being in the middle, with some exceptions like, say, London, for example, where their skyscrapers are in one portion, they have tall buildings elsewhere, but you have certain districts that are dedicated towards certain tall buildings, and then the rest of it is just like leveled off. They didn't do any of that here. They just through buildings, tall buildings, small buildings, you name it, wherever. And I feel like they could have improved the zoning a little bit to like make it look a lot more like a realistic city, how a real zoning board or commission or whatever you have would have told them to zone these buildings. Now I know Minecraft is a game that everybody plays, which is really geared towards kids, so because it's an E10 plus rated game, so at the end of the day they're not going to care about those details like that. But you have cities like Greenfield, which people have actually ported over to Bedrock Edition. I've reviewed that was one of the first videos I ever did on my channel, that they actually purposefully zoned everything, so even with like the target audience, so that way everything wherever it was, it all made sense. The way that this map is, the way that everything is zoned, it doesn't make sense. So those are my 5 pros and my 5 cons. What do you guys think of the map? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I'm HJ, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. And stay tuned because my Minecraft series is coming back very soon. I've been delayed and delayed. I'm gonna get to it sometime this month. So we'll be back very shortly. And I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and by the way, get liked and get subscribed, because I mean only 0.04 of you guys out of the 150,000 that have watched my videos over the past like several years, that's a small amount of you guys that are actually subscribed. So hit the sub button. Maybe you guys liked it, maybe you guys didn't, I don't know, but hit it. Let's do it.